Lastly, just an overview of the entire module to just make sure that so that nothing is left from the discussion that we have made. After going through the chapter, students should be able to understand identification of the type of risk faced by organization, evaluation VAR, evaluation of the appropriate method for identification and management, strategic risk, compliance risk, operational risk, and financial risk. In the financial risk, they have kept counterparty risk, political risk, interest rate risk, currency risk, liquidity risk. Going through the liquidity risk, broadly, liquidity risk can be defined as inability of the organization to meet its liability whenever they become due. This risk mainly arises when an organization is unable to generate adequate cash, or there may be some mismatch in the period of the cash flow generation. This type of risk is more prevalent in the banking business, where there may be mismatch in the maturities and the receiving fresh deposit pattern. This is parts of the liquidity risk which they have recently added in the risk, that is in the financial risk segment. So this is the new portion which has been added recently. Evaluation of the financial risk from the investor point of view, from the company point of view, and from government point of view. VAR, in that the basic explanation, it was introduced in 1922 and it is applied since 1920, so 1990. Features, this is important. Components of the calculation, statistical method, time horizon, probability, risk control, and Z score. Application, or we can say that's the use of the VAR. Example that we have seen: appropriate methods for the identification and management of the financial risk. In that, counterparty risk, how can you identify that, what are the hint for that? So these are the 5 points which we already have covered. Techniques to mitigate the same, to manage the same, these are the 6 methods that we already have seen. Political risk, so these are the 4 hint with which we can understand it, so that is political risk. Then how can you mitigate the same, and there are certain further methods. So these things are, that is, these are the certain things with which you can mitigate the political risk. Interest rate risk, in that, so these are the 6 things which are included in the interest rate risk. They have not provided that, so how can you mitigate the same, because it is covered in the derivative. Currency risk, in that, so again they have provided that, so these are the different that is the hints with which you can understand the currency risk. The mitigation is again covered in the foreign exchange risk management. These are the examples, and this is once again a practical example which we have covered in the VAR practicals. That is what we have.